Hey everyone, Lisa here. Such a massive thank you as always for tuning in, and such a big pat on the back to you all on carving out some time in your day just to create the space. As I understand, it's not always easy to do. So much of what I share is inspired by you guys, and just the ideas of all the topics that we go through are generally from all of your feedback. So please keep it all coming. It helps me out a lot. Over the past 4 to 5 years, as I myself have grown, so has my passion. And that's not only with food, for those of you who personally know me, but on all things life. So some of you may or may not be familiar with who I am. So a little snippet about myself. I'm an organizer, life coach, chatterbox, and coffee lover. I am an ex-hairdresser by trade, aka psychologist at times, and have been living the rotational shift working lifestyle for around the last 12 years now. I grew up on the south coast in Wollongong and now live in the eastern suburbs of Sydney with my amazing partner and the most gorgeous little girl who is certainly a blessing in more ways than one. I do personally thrive when no 2 days are the same, and I do intentionally live a very productive yet fast-paced, get shit done lifestyle, you could say. I will often say that my diary is at full capacity, but it's certainly manageable. What you all should know is that when I'm passionate about something, and that goes for anything in life, you will certainly hear about it. So apologies now if I start to talk really, really fast at times. I truly do just love sharing my everyday learnings and I guess my own experiences, my own life lessons in the hope to motivate and truly inspire you all. My mission is to certainly help you all take the action towards the positive change that you're wanting to make in your own lives. So on that note, let's jump straight into today's episode. So I know a lot of you have listened to the All Things Food webinar that I did a couple of months ago. And if you haven't, I do highly encourage that you go back on my website and have a little listen to that, because we cover it all. We talk about mindset over food. That's the whole 80-20 rule, working smarter, not harder, setting up your week food-wise. I know that I spoke about with you already, what you had in your pantry and your freezer, and, creating the space to meal plan and to meal prep, and using your books to be inspired by, and writing the list, and I guess starting with what you already have. So a lot of what I want to talk about today kind of was inspired by that webinar, but then I guess we can go a little deeper on certain areas that I kind of use myself in my everyday and week to week planning. So I guess my number one thing is you need to make the time. And as simple as that sounds, we are so time poor these days. And the only way that we're going to get things done is by creating the space and making the time. So making the time to create the space allows you to get things done. Hopefully that makes sense. I guess it's also working out kind of how high a priority it is for you. Like, I know food for our family is of such high priority. Last week or 2 weeks ago now, we were in the process of moving, and I knew that if I was not organized and I was not prepared for the move, then I knew that I knew that mornings would be early, I knew that nights would be late, and I knew that we would just be dipping in and grabbing takeaway here, there, everywhere, just for pure convenience. So I made it such a high priority one day to get in the kitchen, organize quite a lot of dishes. I think that day I whipped up around 48 serves, and that was everything from breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I followed a meal plan to an absolute T so that we would not fall off the bandwagon. We saved money in the end, and we also were eating the healthy option when it came to food. And it kept us on track for that week. And that was an absolute godsend, because there was times that I didn't even know where my kitchen utensils were. So that was a blessing. So I guess a big one is to break it down a little bit, is to get the family involved. So if you can, I personally have my own meal planners, which you can grab over on my website at the Tasting Plate. But if not, go to Kmart, go somewhere. I always find that you're more inclined to create a meal plan when it looks beautiful. That's just me anyway. I'm a very visual person. So if you can grab yourself a meal planner from Kmart and get the family involved, all you want is a weekly planner. And I guess what I would do is I would start with all my non-negotiables. So have a look at the week it is, breaking it down to say a Monday to Friday, or if you want to plan for the weekend as well, that's fine. I like to leave a little bit of flexibility on the weekends. So working with a Monday to Friday week, but I would definitely get the family involved. So if one of those days you can incorporate hubby's or your partner's favorite food, if you can ask the kids what they'd like to eat this week, if you go to your parents' house on a Sunday. So anything that's kind of a non-negotiable, if you get takeaway on a Friday night, whatever is a non-negotiable in your week, pop it on the meal planner. Because when you look at a blank meal planner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner over 7 days, it can look a little bit overwhelming. So that's when you need to start breaking it down and then popping in all of those non-negotiables, because then you'll be left with pretty minimal squares. So look at your week, what's coming up, look at your commitments, if they be social engagements, if they be kids activities, or, you know, you might have one child over at someone's house this week, or you might have an extra child on this night. So kind of looking at your week with a bit of an overview of what you've got on. And that way, when you start to slot in all those different commitments, you'll find that all those little slot spaces start to fill up rather quickly. So when you start breaking it down, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I guess a really good thing to do, and I mentioned this in the webinar, is to have a little look at what you already have. And if that, what I'm referring to there is look in your pantry, see what you've got a lot of, look in your fridge, look in your freezer. If you've got heaps of oats this week, consider making, a batch of baked oats. Or if you've got a lot of cereal in the cupboard that you want to use up, hey guys, it's cereal this week. Another good one is always prepping the night before. So if you have got the likes of lots of greens that you want to finish up, they're about to wilt away in the next couple of days, you could make some smoothies ready for the next morning. I'm such a big fan of a double pancake batter over the weekend. My daughter loves pancakes, so I'll always make a batch of pancakes at least one day on the weekend, but I always do a double batter, so I know I've got a batter ready to go. And then that way breakfast takes me literally 2 pancakes midweek, and she's happy, I'm happy, and it's all sorted. So I guess it's kind of getting creative, having a look at what you've got and not thinking, oh, I must buy this for breakfast, I must get this and I must get that. Really starting to use up everything that you already have. Lunch is another one, which is much the same. I know that when we do dinners in our household, we try to make extra for the next day. So if that be, a spaghetti bolognese, or if you do a giant salad, but just don't dress it at nighttime and you take it into work the next day. Lots of little ideas there when it comes to lunch, not being too fancy, or if you're the kind of person that likes to, say, have the same thing for lunch every single day. I remember having lunch at a cafe in Bondi one time, and these ladies created the whole concept that it was build a bowl. And what I loved about that is it got me a lot more creative at home. So what they did is they started off with a base, so generally greens of some sort, whatever you've got, if it be mixed bag of salad, if it's spinach leaves, if it's cabbage, whatever greens you've got, that was your base. And then they would ask you what protein you were after. So if you've got leftover chicken, if you've got mince, if you've got tofu, if you've got turkey, if you've got some stripped beef, whatever kind of protein you have, that was next. And then it was always the rule of thumb between 3 to 6 toppers, well, as in salad sides. So I go through my crisper quite often, and I can always find 3 to 6 salad toppers. So if that be spiralized carrots, some zucchini chopped up, some cucumber, some coriander, shallots, red onion, mushrooms, capsicum, the list goes on. Like generally I will have minimum 3 salad sides in my crisper. So that always works well. And then they always offered you the toppers. So if that be sesame seeds or dried dried nori sheets, the seaweed sheets, or if it was extra chili flakes or fresh chili. So it's just getting a little bit creative, I guess. And then dinner, rule of thumb, always try to do that double batch. So if that be for lunch the next day, as I just said, or if that is to create a dish, you know, if it's going to be something like your spaghetti bolognese or your lasagna, or something that can be reheated or popped in the freezer, and then that way you're pulling it out on a busy school night or a late work night if you've got meetings, or if you just want that go-to quick dinner straight from the freezer. I always find that only over the last few months have I started to repeat dishes weekly, believe it or not. We were always thinking that we had to create a new dish every single day. And then that is when, guys, you end up with, I guess, lots of unopened or opened and unused packages. So I think it's getting savvy as well, and having, you know, if you are making a batch of spaghetti bolognese, which I keep referring to, but if you are making a batch of spaghetti bolognese for Monday, then you could potentially add a taco mix to that and then have tacos the next night. Or it's just getting that little bit creative and doing the double batches to freeze, as I said. Or I know another big helping hand is for myself is on a weekend, I might cut and slice a lot of vegetables or salad up so that they are my go-to during the week. And just to use up at the end of the week, another savvy idea is to create some sort of fry up or stir fry with all of your leftover vegetables come the end of the week. So when are you going to do all of this? You might be wondering. And this is where I kind of talk about carving out the time and creating the space. And this is, I guess, when you start to realize if food is really of a high priority or not. Some people, this is not their forte, and I understand. I think with myself, from not actually working at the moment and having more that Monday to Friday groove, I do have that little bit of extra time on my hands, which I don't know where I fit it all in when I was working full time. But anyway, we always manage whatever situation we're dealt with, don't we? So generally by a Friday night, I have finished my meal plan. And by finishing a meal plan, what I mean is I'm always thinking forward, almost thinking about the next week ahead of me. So if I see a recipe that I like in a magazine, or I think, oh, I must cook that again, I'll always mental note it, and I'll grab my meal planner and I will jot it down somewhere straight away on my meal plan. So every time I have that thought, it goes straight onto my meal planner. So by Friday, I've nearly covered every single breakfast, lunch and dinner. And then by Friday, if I haven't, I just revisit it and then slot in whatever remaining recipes I might want to create, or I'll have a look in my fridge, freezer, pantry and see what I need to finish up for the week it is. On a weekend is generally when I like to do the groceries. So once that meal plan is created, I will often know off the top of my head what I need for each recipe. But if I don't, I will then go back, I will refer to the recipe and I'll see if we've got the ingredients, and I will write down what we need. So I think a big one here is being savvy with what you've got. I often say that everything in your pantry, in your fridge and in your freezer and in your cupboards, whatever you have, it's all money, essentially. It's an inventory of what you've got. So if you can use up everything that you have first, you're already ahead, because you don't want to be spending unnecessary money that you don't really need to. So on a Sunday, if I've done the groceries on a Saturday, by the Sunday, I'm generally having a little revisit of that meal plan and going, okay, what is it that I can do today just to prep me ahead for the next couple of days? And I will do that throughout the week. Just constantly, I'll try to batch. Like tonight, I have friends coming over for dinner, but 2 days ago, I actually prepped all the vegetables for it, because I thought, well, do I really want to be prepping and spending all that time in the kitchen on the day they're coming? I'd rather do it ahead of time and allow myself to be present when they're actually here. So I hope, gosh, I told you, I talk very, very fast when I'm very, very passionate. So apologies. Hope you kept up with all that. So I really hope that by doing all of this, or just even listening to some of this, helps you, gives you a few ideas, gives you an understanding, I guess, of how to keep on track. And by creating those lists and keeping that running meal planner, it does somewhat reduce that mental load, because I know a big thing is when you hear the words every single day, what's for dinner? What are we eating tonight? What are we going to have for dinner tonight? Or even trying to think of that for if you are the cook in your house and you are constantly trying to think of something new every single night, that is when that mental clutter is quite frustrating. So to think that you might be sitting down for one day to nut out your week ahead is what helps the actual mental load. Have a whole nother webinar on mental load and whatnot. So that's another one that you guys can potentially listen to as well. Friendly reminder that we have the to-do lists over on the Tasting Plate website. So I've got the meal planner, the shopping list, and the to-do list, and also the weekly planners if you want to have a little look, as well as our tangible, gorgeous little All Things Life notepads. So as always, I want to thank you so much for tuning in, and please, if anything resonated, as always, or if you feel a friend may even benefit from this episode, please don't forget to spread the love. And also, if you are wanting to potentially dive a little deeper and spend a little bit more time together, head on over to my website and check out my one-on-one coaching page. Don't hesitate to reach out at all. Get in touch via Instagram or just email me over at thetastingplate@gmail.com. I look forward to chatting to you all again really soon, and bye for now.